courage you need to transform your school, your district, your leadership is already inside you. You just need the right framework to unlock it. Welcome to the Courageous Edge. Welcome back to part 2 with Camp Explore. We're continuing our conversation with Dana and Mary Margaret about joy, empathy, and why it matters so much in education.
I want to get real for a moment. We were talking about the fact that they didn't want, coffee on the carpet, and they closed the media center down because there was no adults to supervise, one thing after another. So, what kind of environmental situations are in place right now for schools? What are they dealing with? What are these educational leaders up against? And you guys are out in the field even more than I am. What kind of things are really challenging the work right now?
Well, before I jump in and answer that question, Kim, I just want to point something out. Your mindset wasn't around what you couldn't do. Your mindset was around what you could do, which directly ties into really our answer to that question. And thinking about no matter what state we work in, what district or school that we have, there are some universal or some common challenges, right? So we have these challenges of the number of ACE factors that kids are showing up at our door with now have increased. Student conditioning to the massive amounts of screen time, um, learning gaps that we're still trying to close, um, responding to the disruption in the education journey, really looking at staff shortages. So, curriculum demands, all those things could be such a barrier. And so, I think one of our approaches aligns with how you saw success in Mount Airy, and that is look at your mindset and think what about this barrier is in my circle that I can influence and or control, and what about this is not, and I need to let that go. And that's where you get to engage in the hard work to be done, because it elicits excitement of that momentum. You got some momentum going, and then that ripple effect was there. So in order to lead with courage and empathy, you really have to value the people on your team. You have to create a space for them to make contributions that are honored. I heard you say all I had to do was listen to Polly. But for some leaders in their leadership role, they carry the weight of it has to be all them, and they have to have all the answers versus truly valuing the people on their team. And in order for that to happen, we have to put relationships first. So one of the things I feel like we do really well is we have this incredible parallel of learning where it's about learning systems and strategies and leadership acumen, but it's also learning those skills of how to build relationships, how to build trust, how to understand and listen. And those two things have to kind of act as gears of a bicycle. And your story spoke to all of that. So no matter what the barriers are, you find a way to work through them, around them, under them, but you get it done.
Yeah, I think so. One of the things that I always told my staff is don't think about the money, don't think about how much it's going to cost. The answer is yes,
Yes.
and we will
Yes.
figure out how to do it. Um,
Mhm.
and they were always like, why do we have to say yes to everything? I said, because if you work really, really hard and it eventually becomes a no, you've tried everything and it's not exactly right, we might have to tweak it or we might have to go in this direction. But the answer to your partners and the answer to the vision of the teachers is yes. Let me figure out how I can help you make that happen. Because really, there's a vision in every classroom that you walk in. They have a vision. The problem
Yeah.
is a lot of times it gets snuffed out by us.
Yeah.
We should be empowering their joy and empathy and saying, okay, what is it that you would dream of for this space? What is it you would dream of for your students? Because often they're like, well, I've never really been asked that question. We would have innovators of the month and innovators of the school and and so we were cultivating the culture of yes, we can make that happen. Not no, we don't have the money this year, right? So those are different cultures. You guys do that with empathy and joy. Why do you think that is kind of the key ingredient to move this conversation forward for schools?
Reminds me of that statement. If you think they can't, you're not going to be disappointed. You're going to be right. Right. But if you think they can, you're also going to be um, right. So whatever you think is what's going to actually happen. So what we see and how we approach things determines what we do, and then how we go about the work determines the result we get. So I think one of the things that surprised us most, it was our very first camp, and we asked the teachers. Our first camp was a teacher camp, not an admin camp, and we asked our teachers, like, why are you here? And we kind of predetermined some of the things we thought they were going to say, like, oh, my principal asked me to come, or I'm here to learn new things. I've been teaching for a long time, or I'm brand new, and but what they said shocked us.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And it leads into fears and anxieties, because one of the things that that really surprised us was that they lacked the confidence in themselves. It's something we hear over and over, Kim, and it's surprising, but they truly just say, I just don't feel confident in myself in the classroom, that I'm doing the right thing, that I'm making a difference. I lack that confidence. And they feel overwhelmed, and the fear and the anxiety sets in. And when that happens, it affects your mental and your physical well-being. So we partner with educators. They come to camp, and it's not a one and done. The learning continues and the coaching continues. We work as thought partners. We work as sounding boards, solution explorers, cheerleaders, shoulder to cry on, and there's not a week that goes by that we are not in contact with educators that we've worked with, where they're asking, for help. And so we equip them with the tools and carve out that planning time for them, and so that they can go back ready to teach and to lead and find that confidence in themselves.
Yeah, in our research, we're building on the crisis leadership research and a lot of Brene Brown's work. But the second thing after your why that determines if you're going to be successful as a leader is belief in yourself, or self-efficacy. So that's what I'm hearing, right? We want to make sure we give those teachers the self-efficacy they need, or the belief in themselves, to really make their dream a reality of changing the world, because they change the world every day, like one little piece at a time. But you almost have to remind them that they're doing that. So for the listeners that are hearing this and they're thinking, gosh, I want to be a more courageous, empathetic leader, but I don't know where to start. It looks like you ladies have it all together.
Well, I won't tell you which one keeps the other one in check, but
Yes.
that partnership. But
Yeah, what would you say to them? Like, how can you just begin to put joyful practices like in your everyday? I think this is really an important first step for people who feel like they don't have anything together, right? And so they want to start working on this.
sure. I'm going to go back to storytelling, because it actually is the cornerstone, kind of, to what does that look and feel and sound like? Like, you asked a really big question, Kim, right? Like, how do I get started to be a courageous leader? So it's one of those things that's so simple. Why didn't I think of it? That's kind of what this falls into. And so to be able to kind of, let's model what it is we want to happen. So I'm going to give you a little bit of research before I throw the idea out there, so it makes a little bit more sense. So here's what the research says. We are born with 6 emotions. As a human being, we're capable of 22 emotions. So that means 16 of the emotions have to be learned. That that again is just more information, but let's go back to the 6 emotions that we're born with. Take a guess, Kim. How many of those are positive?
1.
You were close.
Close.
Only 2 emotions are positive. That means 4 of the emotions we're born with are in that negative spectrum or space. So our takeaway is it takes more intentionality and awareness to think positively because we're negatively hardwired. So I want you to think about as you go in to greet your students or you go in to greet your teachers, no matter what your role is, and you say to people, hey, how are you doing today? How's it going? Well, you're usually going to get one of 2 response. One's going to be that robotic, I'm good, I'm fine, thanks for asking kind of thing. Or 2, you're going to get a plethora of what's wrong in their world. They're going to just gush out this and this and this. And so what we know about the brain is the brain cannot think positive and negative at the same time. So to stay in this space of joy and to be a courageous leader, let's become thought-provoking partners that elicit joy. And so next time you reach someone, ask this power question. Hey, Kim, can you tell me about the best part of your day so far? And you truly will see them stop in their tracks, right? And have to think, wow, what has been the best part of my day? And it leaves that negative space, automatically goes to that positive space, or leaves that robotic answer and really gets to the meat. And if it's early in the day and maybe not enough of the day has passed for them to be able to elicit a true valuable answer, then say, hey, will you share with me? What are you most looking forward to today? What's in your plans or this week? And if we only have 30 seconds or a minute and a half or 3 minutes to engage with people, wouldn't you like it to be a positive engagement? And so that one power question is a way you can start to lead with this sense of joy and put positive mindset. The other part to that is when you ask them, don't just smile and say, hey, thanks for sharing and walk on your way. Truly listen and don't listen with the intent for yourself to respond or tell your answer to that. Well, that's great. Guess what I'm looking forward to? No, no, no. Let's not go into that autobiography.
Yeah.
Let's really say, connect to something they said. Like, I appreciate you sharing that with me because that reminds me of things I need to look for in my own life. Like, make a connection. So listen with intentionality. That puts everything we've been talking about all wrapped up in a bow, right? Empathy, joy, courage, listening, positive mindset, and being that person that you want to have in your life, not just that person you want to be in someone else's life.
Yeah, you guys are engineering joy
Yeah.
and showing them how to set it up for joy. I
Mhm.
have found from the years of leadership, the 32 years that I've been leading in education and excited about tomorrow in education, reminds me that the more joy I give away and the more vision I build with someone else and the more that I empower someone to be successful, the greater inner joy I have. But you don't learn that until years later. You know, you're just trying to make your way through the world. You're trying to show people what you know for so many years. That really it's about empowering others. And the best way to do that is to be a better listener and to make connections for them and to really pour into them. And it's really hard for people to understand that until they build teams and they really know how to do that. And then they watch it, and even if no one knows you had anything to do with the Blue Bear Cafe, doesn't matter, right?
That's
You
right.
just show up and you look at the joy every day and you think, you know what, I had a little something to do with that. And you take that as what really brings you a deep, abiding joy. As we close out this episode, I really want to talk about what's ahead for you guys and make sure that we get your information out there so you can tell everybody what Camp Explore has planned, what kind of events or online networking. I know your busy time is coming up, and I know next semester and the summer is just crazy for you guys, but how can people connect with you? What's the best way for them to be part of your network?
Well, our 2026 camps are on the calendar and in the books, and we've got one coming up in January. It's a 2-day mid-year winter camp. This is strategy heavy to keep the momentum going into the spring and as you enter into your testing period. We have 2 admin camps in June and one teacher camp in June. Those are also 2-day camps. And if travel is not in the cards for your school and you're not able to come to Camp Explore will come to you. We offer customized mini camps that target your school's specific needs. We're small. You might say we're like a boutique organization. We like that word, but we're flexible and available to partner with you in whatever role that you have in your school. And if you'd like to visit our website, it is www.campexploreinfo.com. And you can message us through our website and we will reach out and schedule a phone call or a Zoom call with you to meet you and talk about your needs and wants and dreams for your school.
Yeah.
Well, we are so excited and thankful to have you guys here on the Courageous Edge. We really feel like we're equipping people with practical skills, things they can put in tomorrow, networks they can be a part of. I know we also have any information on KandEinnovation.org. We'll be glad to hook you up with Camp Explore. We'll be featuring their information and making sure that this podcast goes out there. We've had so much fun. It sounds like what you guys were talking about will lead to a second podcast. Maybe we'll be able to have with you sometime. I'm like, oh my gosh, what would be really cool is to try to do one from your camp and let some of your people jump in there and talk about how awesome it is. I think that would be a neat follow-up. We want folks to know that this Courageous Edge is for them. It is practical. It is full of information, and it will get them what they need. And we want folks to subscribe to the Courageous Edge. So if you, again, go on the K&E Innovation, it's K&ANDE innovation.org. We have a subscribe. It'll get you all of our newsletters, all of our resources and tools, all of our podcasts, and it's completely free. We do not charge for any of that. So we want to lead people to make their dreams a reality. And until then, lead courageously. Your students, your staff, and your community are counting on it. And we appreciate you. Thanks, ladies. This has been fantastic.
Thank you. We've enjoyed it.